Hi guys! Welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new legal advice content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, Neighbor Damaged Their Car Pulling into My Driveway. Want us to pay for repairs? Ontario, Canada. Neighbor across the street entire family uses our driveway to pull into before backing into their own driveway. We have asked them to stop, but they ignore us. They said there is no city bylaw against it, which I believe is correct. In the past, they have damaged our lawn, broken our garbage can, and damaged our recycling, compost bins. Today was garbage day, and I put out some broken shelves at the end of our driveway with the garbage can and other bins to make it easier for the garbage workers to reach because of the snowbanks. About an hour ago, angry neighbor shows up at our doors saying we need to keep our driveway clear at all times and the trash there damaged their car when they pulled in. He wanted to know where they should send their car for repairs since we would be paying. To say I'm angry is an understatement. He claimed the first few feet of our driveway is public property controlled by the city, and since it wasn't kept clean and damaged his car, we need to pay. I asked him to leave our property before I called the police. He told me to go ahead. At that point, I closed the door and locked it. Can I really be held liable for having an idiotic neighbor? Is my best course of action to just ignore him until I get served with legal papers, or should I be proactive and get a lawyer myself? It's been about a week since the issue came up, and I thought I would post an update. I ended up going to speak with them the following day to tell them about the trespass. I also gave them a letter stating the same thing. It's just something I made up based on suggestions here and what I found on the internet. They seemed a little surprised and didn't say much other than I should expect to hear from their attorney. So far, we haven't heard from anyone lawyer-wise. For a short time, I felt like the problem was resolved as nobody used our driveway. This all changed yesterday, Friday, exactly a week since the incident when my neighbor pulled into my driveway as I was clearing ice from it. He smiled, waved, and reversed into his driveway. I did manage to take a photo as I shook my head, no at him. They used our driveway at least 2 other times in the evening after dark that we know about. I called a non-emergency police number this morning to report the trespassing, and the call taker told me someone would contact us soon. At this point, I think I would be surprised if the police did anything based on what I'll mention later in my text. I've also pursued this in 2 other ways. First, the bylaw folks did get back in touch with me to tell me that there was no bylaw stating others couldn't use my driveway. They also said that I'm well within my rights to put anything I want in my driveway anywhere as long as it's not a permanent structure. I also learned that blocking my driveway from the street is not permitted and that anything within 1.5 m on either side of the driveway is considered blocking. Bylaw said the damage to the car is a civil matter and has nothing to do with them, not surprised there. Lastly, I tried to find out if I own the driveway all the way to the road. This has been an exercise in frustration, to be honest. Right now, the only thing I know for sure is the following: city right-of-way. This term refers to the city-owned portion of a piece of land. It is very often wider than the road and sidewalks that may abut your property and can extend to a considerable extent on your property. The city maintains a right-of-way wider than the width of the road in the event that a road widening becomes necessary at some point in the future. Notwithstanding this, a property owner is still responsible for maintaining the city-owned portion of their land, with respect to matters such as grass cutting and snow clearance. The exact extent of the city's right-of-way can be determined through a plan of survey. This leads me to believe the city does own a piece of the driveway, but I don't know how much and if this means my neighbor can use it. The fact that they began using it again a week after my visit leads me to believe they have found out that they are free to use it. At this point, we are trying to decide if we drop it or go all in and hire our own attorney. Someone from the planning department of the city is going to be calling us back next week, I hope. Thanks to everyone for all the great advice. Final update. I figured I owed you all one final update. Idiot Neighbor will now forever be known as A-Hole Neighbor. We received a letter from a law firm representing them. The letter basically says we put obstructions in the driveway when we knew they used it on a daily basis. They are now willing to settle for the cost of repairs plus attorney costs. I don't know if expletives are permitted here or not, but duck them. I may not be able to block them using our driveway, see below, but I won't be paying them anything ever. We have heard back from the city police, and they won't do anything unless we are threatened. A wave doesn't constitute a threat, so they want no part of this. I also got a copy of the property map, and the city owns more than half the distance between the house and the road, give or take. The city portion is about normal car length. We are granted a right-of-way. Technically, a whole neighbor has no right to use it, but nothing will be done by the city to block this, and there is no bylaw against it. Lastly, we cannot trespass people on the city's portion of our driveway. I have a feeling that a whole neighbor was made aware of this sometime around when they started using our driveway again. I have hired a lawyer. He has asked that I no longer post to social media. So, with that said, I'm out. Next one is titled, Mother was living in a condo I purchased. Upon her death, her new husband and his family expect me to transfer ownership to him because he owns it. Ontario, Canada. While I am not wealthy by any means, I have been investing my extra income for many years now. As my mother was on the verge of becoming homeless some years ago, I decided to use income generated from other properties to finance a condo for her in a retirement community. She was single at the time, and the verbal agreement was that she could stay there as long as she needed, but she had to pay for the utilities and condo fees. A few years ago, she married a man who promptly moved in with her. I've had a strained relationship with my mother for many years, and while this man seemed nice enough, we never became close. Before they got married, they sent a note to me and my siblings stating that the marriage wouldn't change how their assets were split up upon their deaths. For example, his kids would get his stuff and her kids would get her stuff. My siblings and I didn't care either way and just wanted her to be happy, even though she was basically estranged from all of us at that point. Early this fall, my mother passed away. My siblings and I all did what was expected during this difficult time, but it was made clear to us that the new husband was running the show. After that took place, I decided that I would wait a month or so before telling the new husband that he needed to find a new place to live, as I was going to be selling the condo. Before any of this could happen, though, I had a very angry call from the husband about why I was listed as the owner of my mother's residence. I tried explaining what the reality of the matter was, but he was having none of it. Things have now escalated to the point that his kids are calling and sending me quasi-threatening emails. In the last communication, they stated that my ownership of the condo is fraudulent because my mother had been making the payments on it for all these years, and I tricked her into signing it over to me when it was first purchased. Do I have anything to worry about? I'm not very confrontational, but I will stand up for myself and what's right when push comes to shove. I won't be able to sell the place until it is empty, which means evicting this guy, but that will likely get him even more riled up, which I would like to avoid if at all possible. Update. Some people have asked for an update, so I thought I would provide one. I ended up retaining the services of an attorney, and this seems to have been the linchpin needed to get the wheels turning in my favor. Sometime in mid-January, my lawyer was notified that the condo would be vacated before the end of the month, and they even turned over the keys through the building superintendent. The condo was messy, dirty, but nothing was damaged. A good cleaning and some fresh paint made everything look as good as new. The condo fees were last paid for December, so I had to get that taken care of once I got the locks changed. In the end, I will be out a few months' condo fees and the cost of the attorney. There are some issues with the utilities, which are 1. Still in my mother's name, and 2. In arrears by a few months, but I'm told this will all be resolved quickly and I won't have to pay for the outstanding portions. With any luck, the unit will be sold by the end of this month. Thank you, hot real estate market. Lessons learned from this ordeal. 1. Get everything in writing, even when it's with family, and 2. When push comes to shove, walk away and hire a lawyer. Next one is titled, North Carolina. Sold townhouse. A year later, AC goes out. New owner wants us to pay. We sold a townhouse September 2016. The townhouse is a 2-unit system. We had just replaced 1 unit, but disclosed the state and age of the aging unit. We even paid to have it serviced before putting it on the market. Today, Nov 21, 2018, we receive a letter stating that the new owners had to replace the older AC unit. They requested that we pay half of the amount. They even state that they have a lawyer. There is an enclosed statement from the company that put in the AC unit stating that the compression coil was rusted and that it should have been caught beforehand and that it had no freon. Do they even have a case? Do we get a lawyer? I genuinely don't know where to begin. Update. I know only a handful of people will read this, but I figured why not do an update. We were sued via small claims court for half of the amount of the AC unit. The case predictably was dismissed as we didn't misrepresent the condition of the 14-year-old unit. What was interesting is that he genuinely thought that we owed him the money, almost to the point of self-righteousness. The way he talked about us, what he supposedly was told with nothing evidentiary to back up his claims. Additionally stating that his lawyer said that his case was strong. His lawyer didn't manage to show up to court, but still very strong case. Oh wow, it's over. Last one is titled, Delaware. A fence appeared in my backyard and nobody knows where it came from. The mystery fence. We live in a row home and the house attached to ours is vacant. It's been on the market since before we moved in, and nobody's lived in it for at least 7 years. There was a small cast iron fence between the 2 yards on my property line that went from under the fire escape to the brick garage. I removed that fence as it was on my property about a month ago and installed brand new, beautiful sod. Well, I come home today and this disgusting, mismatched fence has been erected between the yards. It goes over my property line, crushing the sod at the bottom of the fire escape. The leprechauns or whoever installed it stepped all over my grass to do so, and to top it all off, they gave us the ugly side, which is totally against fence etiquette. I don't know who owns it, so I called the real estate agent. He was just as shocked as I was when I told him there had been a fence built. He had no idea. I asked my neighbor on the other side. She didn't hear or see anything. What the duck am I supposed to do? Edit to add, no homeowner association. Update, I found the fence on Thursday. Saturday, I was having about a dozen people over for a family birthday party, so the eyesore of a fence had to go, one way or another. So on Friday morning, I had a follow-up call with the realtor who knew nothing about the fence, and he told me that the homeowner did neither. I called my neighborhood civil council president to let him know about it, and he told me about encroachment issues as the fence was on my property, but also let me know that in my city, a permit is not required to build this type of fence. I took many commenters' advice and installed security cameras around my house, 2 of which have either full or partial view of the neighboring backyard. I also took to heart the idea that there may be squatters living or preparing to live in the house next door. If I find anything on my security cameras indicating there may be squatters, I'll be informing the police. So on Friday afternoon, I removed the fencing in its multiple different pieces and gently leaned them against the brick garage, with the exception of one door-sized section, which I put against the basement door in case there are indeed squatters entering through there. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday came and went without any indication that the yard was entered again, and the fencing over the basement door hasn't moved. We still don't know who built the fence or why, but it doesn't seem like anyone cares, and at least now I don't have an abomination of a fence to stare at anymore. I will likely build my own fence though, one that looks good and is structurally sound, and that spans my property line. Thanks to everyone for your input and advice, and if I learn who built the fence, I will be sure to update again. Thanks for listening.